While everyone is distracted with pointless duck and cat memes, there's a much bigger issue at hand that no one wants to talk about. The Jewish terrorist organization HIAS, Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. This group is behind much of the madness we see in America today, yet somehow it flies under the radar. Why is that? Aren't we talking about the fact that our current Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, used to be on the board of HIAS, the very organization that is now profiting from the chaos with hundreds of millions in government grants? It's time we get real about what's happening in places like Springfield, Ohio. Over the past few years, the city has been overwhelmed by an influx of Haitian migrants. Tens of thousands have poured in, many under temporary protected status, and they're placing enormous strain on local resources. Schools, healthcare systems, and housing are being pushed to the limit. Meanwhile, the city is left to fend for itself, scrambling for federal aid to deal with this explosion of population. But here's the kicker. While these communities struggle, HIAS is raking in the cash. In fiscal year 2022, 47% of HIAS's revenue came from government grants. Let that sink in. They're taking your tax dollars, the money of hardworking white Americans, and using it to fuel an invasion that's erasing the core identity of this nation. Since 2021, HHIAS has received over $248 million in grants, including $94 million for a preferred communities program and $65 million for refugee aid abroad. Their funding has skyrocketed in recent years, going from $52 million in 2019 to almost $150 million in 2022. This is happening right under our noses, and no one seems to care. The real question is, why aren't people outraged that Mayorkas, who was part of this group, is now in charge of distributing billions in government funds? It's not a coincidence that HIAS is receiving these massive grants. This is a classic conflict of interest, no different from what we saw with Lloyd Austin and Raytheon. Austin was on the board of Raytheon before becoming Secretary of Defense, and now the defense contractor is rolling in government contracts. It's the same playbook. The swamp is alive and well. If you're tired of being fed distractions like memes while America crumbles, it's time to start paying attention to the real issues. Middle MAGA is digging into the truth. Subscribe to the Middle MAGA YouTube channel to stay informed. Springfield is just one example of how these so-called aid organizations are contributing to the destruction of American cities. Haitians have flooded the area, putting immense pressure on public services. There's been talk of crime and tensions rising with wild rumors about migrants stealing pets or wildlife. But whether those claims are true or not, what's undeniable is the sheer strain on local resources. The people of Springfield never asked for this, and now they're paying the price. And let's not forget that HIAS isn't just some small-time operation. They've been in the refugee resettlement game for decades, and their cozy relationship with the government only grows stronger. With Mayorkas at the helm of Homeland Security, they're positioned to siphon even more of your tax dollars. This isn't about helping refugees. It's about an agenda to dilute and dismantle the white identity of this country. They're using white America's own money to wipe it out. And the worst part is that no one wants to talk about it. We're living in a time where distractions are everywhere, but truth is becoming harder to find. Visit the Middle MAGA website for uncensored, hard-hitting reports on what's really going on. So why the memes? Because they're a diversion from the real problems, like the rapid demographic changes happening in places like Springfield, thanks to groups like HIAS. It's all part of a larger plan. They don't want you to connect the dots, but once you start, the picture becomes clear. The U.S. government, the very institutions you thought were there to protect you, are handing money to organizations whose goal is to replace the American people. They're doing it under the guise of humanitarian aid. But we see what's really going on. Like, comment, subscribe. Am I being fair? Am I out of line? Do I need to explain why non-whites should be concerned about American white erasure? Ask yourself, why are we being told to care about jokes when our country is being torn apart from the inside? They want you distracted. They want you silent. But we're not going to sit back and watch it happen any longer.
Middle MAGA.